Tonight on Table, we're concluding our conversation about civility. I started by asking all my guests to give one example when civility changed the course of their lives. Now we'll give you our remedy to return to civility. So I'm really interested, if there was an American person sitting right here and they're watching the complete discivil behavior on television, what hope would we give them?
So I saw Thomas Friedman the other night, and he was telling a story about asking Amory Lovins whether he was a pessimist or an optimist. And I think his answer is sort of captures what you just said. Amory said, well, I'm not either, because those are both fatalistic viewpoints. You've decided that it's going to be really bad or good. And he says, I believe in applied hope, which basically implies that you got to work at it to get the outcome you want. I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to figure out how to rebuild community, table by table, neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city.
This is it right here. This is the hope we give them. We're all people from all over the place, and we're here having dinner, and we're talking about our experiences, and we're not bashing each other or saying, oh, well, I did this and you didn't do that. This is it right here.
I think the table is a metaphor for community, and I think the hope is in community, because a sense of community is what gives us that sense of common purpose that holds us together, gives us adhesiveness so we can act together. And I do think that it's having that common place is what you rebuild civility from. That's, I think, what you rebuild our country from. And the challenge is finding the way to convene people. What's the premise or excuse to bring people together to have that conversation? And how do you scale this?
Pork chops. It's all pork chops.
Pork chops.
Well, it's interesting because it seems like the theme, again, is direct communication. Seems like it leads to civility. So then you wonder what's going on in politics.
I would bet even in today's day, there's more relationship than we would otherwise think by watching CNN and Fox and otherwise. I bet there's more communication, there's more getting along than we see. What the media shows is the fights and the anger and the vitriol, because that's what gets the clicks, that's what gets the sells the attention. So I wonder if some of this rhetoric and this lack of civility isn't part show.
I have a 13-year-old son, and I love him to pieces. I talk to him all the time about, is there a kid in your class that doesn't have any friends? Are you that person's friend? That, to me, that's what civility is. It's that I'd do anything for you just because it's the right thing to do. And that you look at politics, and you're not rewarded for that. You're rewarded for the exact opposite of that. You're rewarded if you take the credit, if you bash the other guy, and if you say you're the smartest person in the room.
I think part of the problem is the two-party system. This has changed so much since 1979, but I mean the exercise now is all about the acquisition and retention of partisan political power, not the exercise of that power for the common good. People don't want to cast that vote that they believe in because they're afraid that someone will use it against them in the next campaign. And it is just the most asinine, sophomoric. Yeah, I mean, and actually people don't care. And but it just grinds things to a halt.
Jason, you're a Republican. Tim, you're a Republican. I'm totally curious, like how you guys view what's happening to your party.
Yeah, Tim.
Nice thought. I guess I still have some hope and some faith that this vitriol will change. This is a long game, and I think Republicans will look back and say that was not our finest hour. I do think that there are some deep-seated concern and anger that's being brought to the surface. But as Lincoln said, we need to resort to the better angels of our nature, and that's not what we're doing right now. You dodged the question.
I didn't dodge it, it's my dinner. The thing that breaks my heart is that I don't think you can run against the institution you're trying to get elected to serve in. Government's not the answer, don't get me wrong, but the institution's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And so when you rip apart the institution you're trying to get elected to, my default is I automatically discount you. And then a person that thinks the institution is a savior of all, no, that's actually not that's not part of history. History is the individual. And we work out our own salvation on the anvil of this public discourse thing that we all do.
I think the thing that sustains me, and even in this bizarre political environment we're in, is I think at the end of the day, it's useful to remind ourselves that that we all want the same things in the final analysis. I mean, I think everybody wants to be able to take care of themselves and their families. They want hard work to be rewarded with a better life. They want at least the opportunity to achieve their potential. I think people yearn for a safe, secure neighborhood. And it comes out. It comes out when there's a forest fire or an earthquake. It came out after 9/11. It comes out every time somebody comes into the emergency room when I was practicing medicine. When you're sick or think you're dying or hurt, there's just a common humanity. And I think reminding ourselves of that is very comforting and healing.
Well, we've had a lovely dinner based on civility. Let's have a toast to our country and to a return to civility. While everyone's experience is different, everyone is equal around table. Conversation, being civil to each other, complete strangers face to face, breaking bread, and creating community. Table is a breath of fresh air and perhaps the most important step in the right direction.